Jurassic Fight Club. Welcome, guys, once again to the channel, Ranking with Dinosaurs, where today we rank, yes, you guessed it, dinosaurs. However, today's going to be a little different. This is following the Walking with Dinosaurs tier list that I did. Now we're focusing on another documentary, Jurassic Fight Club, which is rather infamous for being one of the worst paleo documentaries ever made. What you guys fail to see is that as a young kid, I was very easily impressionable. So when I saw this documentary, I thought it was rad as hell, you know. And whoever was a kid and watched this show, I find it hard to believe that you didn't like it, unless you were, one of those little snob kids. I was like, actually, dinosaurs did not behave like that. I know. Now as grown-ups, we developed something called taste. And we now know that this show is actually pretty ass. In a lot of ways, but in some ways, it's got its stuff. I'm gonna get mad in this video, but I'm gonna try to keep it, level-headed. So, I'm gonna be starting with Cannibal Dinosaurs. So, we're gonna be starting with episode 1, Cannibal Dinosaurs. So, I'm gonna go through, for each episode, I'm gonna judge a lot of the mainly designs, the premise, and the behavior of the animals. So this episode takes place in Madagascar, where the titular animals are a couple of Majungasaurus. Now, starting with the design, I don't know how you could get it wrong, honestly. Like, Majungasaurus is one of those very distinct-looking theropods, like one of the most distinct-looking animals, like dinosaurs, period. And the fact that they decided to make it as generic as possible is, astonishing to me. Like, come on, man. This thing is like, actual Majungasaurus is known as the walking sausage, and you give it a almost ostrich-like posture, and you decided to give it like long-ass legs. I don't know. Why would you do that? It's beyond me. But you know what? The coloration is cool. I like the teals on the male. The female is, a little more dull-colored. I like the wattles too that it has present. Kind of looks like a chicken. But yes. Moving on to the premise. I mean, it's fine. It's mostly based on the fossil findings that Majungasaurus was actually a rather cannibalistic dinosaur. But, that's honestly true for any carnivorous animal that's ever lived. They do consume some of their own species. So, I mean, that's nothing new. But, for a premise for an episode, makes sense. They're using fossils as a basis for an episode. Something that, a lot of these episodes are not going to be based on anything. So, but, yeah. This one, pretty cool. I like it. Behaviorists, I mean, they're fine. The male is trying to, win over the female. And the female is trying to protect her baby. And what's weird is that the female at the end kind of does, I'm gonna kill you because you killed my kid, but I didn't know he was dead. But now I know he's dead. I'm gonna eat him. So, my bad, bro. I didn't mean to kill you. It wasn't that serious. Like, I don't know. The ending is a little bit weird, but, we'll let it pass. It's not one of the worst episodes, believe me. There's some bad episodes. But Cannibal Dinosaurs, episode 1, I think it's gonna be a B tier. T-Rex Hunter. So, this is episode 2 of Jurassic Fight Club, and moving on to, I don't want to say controversial episode, because, all the episodes are controversial as hell. But it does feature a controversial genus, which I've talked about in another tier list, the Nomen Dubium tier list. That refers to Nanotyrannus. So, in this particular episode, apparently, the premise is that Nanotyrannus is trying to dispatch some juvenile T-Rexes. Now, I can see how this could be plausible, It's trying to hunt easy prey, Juveniles are much easier prey than adults, obviously. The thing is, apparently, by this show, what this show tells us is that this Nanotyrannus is actually killing these juveniles because they doesn't want them to grow up to be an actual threat to it. So, in the words of the show, Nanotyrannus kill juvenile T-Rexes So to avoid competition, what? Actual what? So the show goes, the Tyrannus tries to, kill these two juvenile T-Rexes, which are much less experimented in finding than Nano Tyrannus. And, well, they end up wounding each other. The actual juvenile T-Rex bites the Nano Tyrannus in the leg, which they explained that it had bacteria in its teeth and it could infect their legs. Like, bro, that's just every single animal, every single carnivorous animal that bites you. You can get infected. That's just how nature works. It's not something like only known or is known from juvenile T-Rexes. What the hell? What was that? I don't know. But yeah, at the end of the day, the Tyrannus, I think, kills one of them or wounds them. I can't remember, honestly. But the actual parent of the juvenile T-Rexes shows up, tries to roar away the Tyrannus, and the Tyrannus is like, you know what? Get this hands. And why would it do that? You're trying to kill juvenile T-Rexes because you can't fight a bigger one, but the bigger one shows up and you want to fight it still? Brother, you deserve to die. It happens. What would actually happen is that the T-Rex absolutely decimates the Tyrannus. This episode is so dumb. I'm going to put it... There are dumber episodes, so I'm going to put it in C tier. Gang Killers. Now, this is the third episode, and it shows us in North America a group of Deinonychus. Deinonychus. And they're trying to hunt at Dinosaurs. So, this is based on the find that there was a fossil Tyrannosaurus that it had some, I believe, I don't know if it was tooth marks on the bones, on the actual bones of the Tyrannosaurus, or there were remains of Deinonychus. I can't remember. It might have been a combination of the two. But the fact that the premise of the show is based on that the actual Deinonychus hunted this huge Tyrannosaurus is just crazy to me. Like, I know this is a very 2000s idea that, dromaeosaurs hunted in packs. They were intelligent pack animals that hunted like wolves and all of that. By today's standards, that is pretty debatable. There's not a lot of supporting evidence for that. But, and this 2000s still. I can't remember what year this show came out. It was 2007 or 11, something like that. But does Deinonychus work cooperatively to bring down this Tyrannosaurus? Now, I don't have to tell you what this is a dumb idea from this Deinonychus. These are like 6, 7, 8 Deinonychus, and this is a big ass Tyrannosaurus. Tyrannosaurus is huge, and I like the design of the Tyrannosaurus. Actually, it shows its main feature, which is their big tail, like their long, thick, tall tail. It's pretty awesome looking, and it actually does manage to defend itself and kill a bunch of Deinonychus, which they are seeing their friends getting murdered, like destroyed. Actually, they're not putting they're apparently like slashing at this big ass Tyrannosaurus, but they're not killing it, and they decide to keep going. Like, they have beef with this particular Tyrannosaurus that they wanted dead. I don't know, bro. These guys don't have no regard for their own safety. But at the end, the Tyrannosaurus escapes, is wounded, almost dead. It's very slow, because it's been slashed and hacked a bunch of times. And apparently at the dead of night, there is a thunderstorm, and the Deinonychus, while they're stalking it, they are masking their footsteps with the thunders of the thunderstorm. I'd have to tell you how this is very horror movie-like and not actually based on anything. I don't know if actual animals do this even today. I don't know, they were just grasping at straws here. This episode is kind of dumb. I like the designs, though. The Deinonychus obviously is not not feathered at all. It's just a skinny-ass lizard-looking thing. I guess the general anatomy is not bad, but, it's not great. I think I'm going to put it in C tier as well. Bloodiest Battle. Now, moving on to episode 4, Bloodiest Battle. And, oh my god, when I tell you, this episode just makes me mad. So, this episode takes place in the Morrison Formation. So a bunch of different dinosaurs show up in this episode, which is a cluster heck. I don't want to say the word of just randomness and just balls to the walls. Stuff happens for the sake of stuff happening, for the sake of violence. It's insane. We got a mother and a baby stegosaurus getting stuck in mud at the border of a little lake there. They start sinking. A Ceratosaurus comes. Oh, and the stegosaurus designs pretty good, actually. They don't look bad at all. Ceratosaurus comes in. It starts eating the baby because, it makes sense. There's a baby, there's an adult. Let me attack the baby. Much easier prey. Starts eating it. 3 Allosaurus out of nowhere show up. Oh, cool. They're going to try to scare off the Ceratosaurus and, try to eat the baby Stegosaurus instead. No, they mount a plan and to murder the Ceratosaurus, which is, I don't know, kind of insane that they could do that. But, to each their own. I guess these Allosaurus are, have beef with Ceratosaurus. That's going to be another plot for another episode. But yes, so they kill the Ceratosaurus, and instead of eating the baby Stegosaurus, they decide to, try to kill the mother, which has her tail still free, which she can swing around, instead of eating the baby. Now, I don't have to tell you why this is dumb, especially for animals. But, oh God, this episode is so stupid. And it gets more stupid because a little herd of Camarasaurs show up. Big sauropods, nothing wants to stand in front of them. Nothing will try to even harm them. Especially a male, which is a much bigger than any other animal in its environment right there. But these Allosaurus say, you know what? These Stegosaurs right here, they're dying and they're going to clearly die of starvation or of thirst. Nah, it's just leaving there. We're going to attack that big-ass Camarasaurus going down there. Yes, we're going to kill that guy. Bro, come on. Come on. These animals, again, this show is just balls to the walls. These dinosaurs just want blood. They're out for themselves. They feel like they're in the WWE. They just want to wrestle everything. But, in the end, I think most of these Allosaurus die. They get stomped in a very dumb way. What else can I say? This episode is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. F tier. Deep Sea Killers. So, moving on to episode 5, Deep Sea Killers. Where, you know what? To this show credit, at least we got a Xenozoic episode. Again, why you call it Jurassic Fight Club? I know it's because of Jurassic Park and you want to make the connection, but makes no sense. But we'll let it go. Could have called Prehistoric Fight Club. I don't know. But yes, so this episode focuses on Megalodon, and I gotta say, well, first of all, the Megalodon design is, I guess, very generic. I mean, this is the time when Megalodon was just an upscaled great white shark. Which, at the time, I get it. It can look like a great white shark, but, we only have, those big-ass mandibles. So, the design is not very inspired. It's meh. It's okay. The actual star of the show I actually really like are the Brachiomphyseter, the raptorial sperm whales. Now, that's a cool name. These guys are cool. They hunt in pods. I think they use sonar in the episode as well, too. But yes, so I think the Megalodon first starts off by hunting a lone Brachiomphyseter, one of the whales. Brings it down, eats it, I think it hunts it in a pretty natural way, that we think Megalodon hunted. Which is, trying to munch on the thorax of animals. Like, just ramming it and taking a bite out of it. That just punctures every single thing on their bodies. Like, they just die instantly over there. But it makes sense. Megalodon is eating on whales. I think we do have whale fossils with Megalodon markings on them, like their actual teeth. And the whale pod, I guess, they start. I don't know if want to exact revenge, but they do attack the megalodon after that, which I get it, I guess, because whales are pretty intelligent creatures, as we all know. So why not prehistoric whales also being very intelligent? So that was, it's acceptable level behavior, because it's kind of based, not exactly, but orcas today do that to sharks. They kind of bully them in real life. So that's pretty cool. And I actually like that they kind of look like orcas, like a sperm whale and orca kind of hybrid thing. And they attack it they attack the megalodon. I think they kill it at the end. So the whales are happy. The megalodon not so much. This one, actually gonna put in A tier. It's not bad. It's actually pretty respectable. Hunter becomes hunted. Now, this is episode 6, and this is when I'm gonna get really mad. This is my least favorite episode. This episode is actual ass. I hate it so much. And it starts with the fact that I have not talked about it in previous videos because it hasn't showed up yet. It is definitely going to show up in another tier list. But Ceratosaurus, it's my favorite dinosaur. It's an awesome dinosaur. The way they portrayed it in this show is that it's an obsolete, out-of-time animal that is not relevant anymore, and that Allosaurus is way cooler, and it's the best dinosaur ever, and it just actually cooks Ceratosaurus, and it obliterates it in every single way. Now, this is too much disrespect for my boy Ceratosaurus. Like, how dare you do this? Like, this shows writers, consultants, everyone, they hate Ceratosaurus for some reason. I don't know why, but they hate him. They hate Ceratosaurus, and I cannot stand for that. So the premise for this episode is stupid but rather great. I mean, Ceratosaurus, there's a pair of them, and I believe they're trying to hunt something. I don't know if they show what they're trying to hunt, but they're trying to hunt something, or they're stalking something. But while they're doing that, an Allosaurus shows up, and he goes in a John Wick kind of rampage where he's like, I'm gonna kill these two Ceratosaurus. How dare they step into my territory, I believe. So first he goes and sneaks upon one and just absolutely kills it in one bite, which is crazy that the Ceratosaurus didn't even see it sneaking out from the back. It's not like it's stalking him. He just walks right to it, and then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you. Psych. Murders him. And then the other Ceratosaurus, calling its mate, I believe they're partners, I believe they're a couple, and, it gets a little distressed since its partner is not responding to its calls. And then it just enters a fight directly out of Jurassic Park. Not Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, with this Allosaurus, where they just fight to the death. That poor Ceratosaurus gets absolutely annihilated, which, as a kid, I was always sad with this episode, because I was like, I was such a big fan of Ceratosaurus as a kid, and now as well. The fact that it was getting decimated like this made me so mad and so sad. But yes, so this Allosaurus kills it, absolutely destroys it, smears the floor with its guts and all of that, and I'm like, bro, do you have to do all of this? Come on, chill. I hate this episode. Raptors Last Stand. So we're moving on to episode 8, the Raptors Last Stand. This is the Utah Raptor episode, that pits it against the Gastonia. Now, this episode, from what I can recall, is not so terrible. The designs, though, not the designs. The design of the Utah Raptor is absolutely atrocious. Like, it's so ugly. It looks like a snake, like a bipedal snake. Bipedal with legs, arms, and pronated arms. Every single theropod, I believe, in this show has pronated wrists, which is annoying, because by this time we know they weren't pronated. But, and completely scaly looking, and with slit pupils for some reason. Again, I don't know, it's so ugly. This Utah Raptor design is atrocious. Now the Gastonia is actually pretty good. I actually quite a bit like the Gastonia design. It looks pretty menacing, pretty natural looking, has some bulk on it. I like the Gastonia. But apparently, this Utahraptor is going through some tough times. There's a drought, and it's trying to find something to eat. Now, but by the time I'm filming this episode, oh my god, I got completely blank right there. When I'm filming this episode, we already know, well, the Walking with Dinosaurs trailer came out. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's so awesome. But there's actually going to be also a Utahraptor versus Gastonia episode. And I don't know why with Utahraptor, I don't know if we found actual evidence of Utahraptor eating Gastonia. But I don't know, I find it kind of weird or implausible that a Utahraptor could kill like an adult Gastonia. Like, these guys are heavily armored. And Utahraptors, while they are, for Dromaeosaur standards, they are bulky. They're not like bulky animals by themselves. I don't think they could take on a whole Gastonia, but this one in this episode tries to guess it. I mean, it tries to outmaneuver it, getting on its weak points. It kind of gets like a little scratch in there. It ends up getting, I was gonna say scissored, but that's how they describe it in the show. The Gastonia kind of cuts it on the side. The Utahraptor kind of just kills it in any way, but I don't know. This is kind of weird. It's fine. The behaviors are fine, but for a Utahraptor to go after a Gastonia, I don't know about that, bro. It's kind of weird. This episode kind of puts me off a little bit. I'm gonna put it in B tier. The Gastonia kind of saves it. Ice Age monsters. So episode 9 of Jurassic Fight Club, we have Ice Age monsters. The second and last episode that takes place in the Cenozoic. And this particular fight pits a American lion with a short-faced bear. Now, I gotta say, one credit I'll give to this show is that for a television show, with a limited budget, I think the designs and the actual CGI is not bad. Honestly, it's serviceable. It's pretty. Some of the designs, again, some of the designs are fine, but the actual like CGI used, the animations, they look fine. The animals move naturally most of the time. Sometimes gets crazy, but in this particular episode, I think it kind of falls flat a lot. I was gonna say a little bit, no, a lot. Like the actual American lion and short-faced bear, like the actual anatomy and the designs are fine. Like they're good. I mean, it's hard to mess up a lion and a bear if we already have, modern depictions of them. But the actual CGI and animations, they look rough in this one. I don't know if they didn't have any money. They didn't want to invest the money in this particular episode because it's not dinosaurs, but oh god, this episode looks rough. The American lion. I can't remember that much of the actual premise. I think it was an American lion that hunted I can't remember what it hunted. I think it was a bison. One bison. It killed it, started eating it, and then the short-faced bear shows up, which is also very rough looking. And they actually kind of fight for the bison. Again, this show is just about fighting, fighting for mating, fighting for food, fighting for the sake of fighting. But, this episode is very funny in the way they fight because it's just a wrestling match. Like, they actually perform wrestling moves on each other. They do like a pile driver, like a backspin, and I don't know wrestling moves, but, that's what I'm going to be calling them. But, yeah, it's whatever, this episode. I don't hate it, but it's kind of meh. It's kind of there. Like they were told they had to put like a Cenozoic episode in there, and they were like, you know what? Let's just put a lion and a bear. That'll be enough. So I think the bear actually just kicks the lion through a cave opening, like a caving in the floor, and it just falls to its death, and it's kind of anticlimactic. I'm gonna put it in C tier. It's not very good. River of Death. Now, this is the 10th episode of the show, and it focuses on a group of Pachyrhinosaurus. I'm so sorry. Running from a group, I think it's a group of Albertosaurus, actually. Now, this show, I think, is my favorite. Now, when I say this is probably the best episode, I'm not, it's Jurassic Fight Club standard. It's not amazing. It's not great either, but it's serviceable. I actually kind of like the premise. It's actually based on the fossil bed that we found a bunch of Pachyrhinosaurus dead because they probably drowned in a flash flood. And this episode kind of depicts that. The Albertosaurus, I kind of like the design. It's a little skinny for my liking, but it's fine. Like when I was a kid, I thought about Albertosauruses. I always came back to this design. It's actually pretty cool. I like the colors and all. But the Pachyrhinosaurus, oh boy, this is a whole can of worms. Now, if there's one thing Pachyrhinosaurus is very famous for, is its actual skull, which is very distinct, as it doesn't have any horns. It just has a boss right here. Now, when you see the actual show and you see the Pachyrhinosaurus design, you're left with a big question. Why is there a horn in this animal when we have no evidence of that? Well, that's a question everyone makes because it makes no freaking sense. They just decided to put it there because it looks cool. Even Pachyrhinosaurus by itself is one of the coolest ceratopsians. It probably might be my favorite ceratopsian or my second favorite. It's one of the coolest ones. Why? Because it doesn't have a horn. It has something distinct. And what did they do? They made it the most generic looking ceratopsid. It's so ugly. I hate it so much. I'm gonna stop right there. I said I like this episode. The actual premise is good. I actually like that the Albertosauruses are trying to, rattle these Pachyrhinosaurus into backing up into the river. They don't simply just start attacking one and just killing it and then going toward the other one. They're actually, showing some kind of, self-preservation. I think one of them gets punctured by one of the horns, and it actually doesn't just start running towards the other ones like crazy. But well, whatever. The Pachyrhinosaurus at the end, I think they start falling into the river, and they die. And at the end, they show the Albertosauruses munching on the whole bed, this whole graveyard of just dead Pachyrhinosaurus. Pretty good premise. I liked it. The downside of this episode is honestly the Pachyrhinosaurus design. That's horrible. So I'm gonna put it in A tier. Raptors versus T-Rex. Now I don't think this is the last episode. The actual last episode is like a compilation, or like showing you just a bunch of clips of the previous episodes. So this is gonna be the last episode that we're gonna be reviewing, and it's Dromaeosauruses. The premise is Dromaeosauruses trying to hunt an Edmontosaurus. You might be thinking, oh, this is kind of like episode 3. Well, because it is. And it's as dumb as that one. But it's even dumber because this Dromaeosaurus, again, Dromaeosaurus design, atrocious. It doesn't have any sort of feathering, which is, known by this point to be feathered. When they made the show, they're obviously feathered. They made a little effort in putting like some kind of, little quills. Like, come on, bro. If you're not gonna come in, at least do it all scaly. Don't give me that half-ass shit. But the Dromaeosauruses, again, really ugly looking. They look like lizards. And then you got the Edmontosaurus, which is just fine. It's, kind of boring looking. It's the Edmontosaurus basically trying to survive this Dromaeosaur attack onslaught. Where, if you've seen Edmontosaurus is huge. It's a huge animal. I can show you right here. This is my Edmontosaurus model. It's huge. If you compare it to, this is not a raptor, but this would be a raptor next to it. Come on, bro. This is a group of little raptors trying to take out a big Edmontosaurus, a several ton Edmontosaurus. You could see why it makes no sense. So these raptors apparently use hand signals to communicate with each other and what to do when taking down this Edmontosaurus. Apparently they're that smart. They're primate smart. Based on what? You know what? They just said, Let's just put it in a hat. Let's take ideas from a hat. Hand signals, cool. Hacking and slashing, cool. A gang, cool. Terrible premise, cool. The Amantosaurus at the end fights some. It actually kills one, crushing it. The Dromaeosaurus, again, they do not care. They have particular beef with this particular Amantosaurus. They want to kill it at all costs. Doesn't matter how many it takes us, how many of us die. We're gonna kill it. By the end, these raptors, this Dromaeosaurus, yes, in fact, they do kill this Amantosaurus by just cutting it with their fingernails. It's so stupid. And if that wasn't stupid enough, you would be thinking, wow, but this episode is called Raptors versus T-Rex. Where's the T-Rex? Well, it shows up at the end, and it scares the raptors. Yes, that is the amount of screen time the T-Rex gets in the episode called Raptors versus T-Rex. It's so stupid. This episode is so dumb as well. I'm tempted to put it in C tier with it, but I'm gonna put it in F tier for having a terrible premise with a terrible name. So this was the Jurassic Fight Club episodes tier list. As you can see, I got pretty mad. This show is really bad. There are some things to like about it. Not too many though. It's really horrible. But I did my best to try to be unbiased. I did have some episodes that I absolutely hate. And the best of the best are episodes I don't mind and I actually kind of enjoy. I think that's going to be it for this tier list. Let me know, guys, which is your favorite Jurassic Fight Club episode, if you even have a single one, or the one that you tolerate the most. What order? What do you think of the tier list? What would be your order of episodes? Which one do you like more? Let me know in the comments. And what other documentaries you want me to make tier lists about? Either designs or episodes or whatever you want. And yeah, let me know. And please helps a lot. Subscribe, it helps even more. And I will see you in the next video, guys. Thank you so much.